Thank you for attending the Week of Kindness. Coming up next is another powerful, impactful, amazing speaker. Get your notepad out, get your pen. Let's get ready and enjoy. Josiah.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Welcome to the Week of Kindness, my friend. How are you?
Thank you. I'm wonderful. I have my anime dress shirt on, how to be a child and also like, a few hundred years old at the same time. Excited.
Yeah, yeah. I think so. I think that's pretty amazing. And that's how we should look at our businesses and our life is through a little bit of childlike joy, shouldn't we?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, this is your second week of kindness.
Yep.
We did this in June.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we were together. This time, unfortunately, we're a country apart. But I am so excited and thrilled to have you here talking about how you can easily 3x your income without investing in extra ad spend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to leave you to it. You okay?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm so excited. I feel more excited than ever. I love that I have a completely different hair color this time. That's fun.
You, it is a completely different. Guys,
Like,
go back. I like.
it's like in the process of like not long enough yet that I could bleach it again, but too long that it like looked. It was Neapolitan. It was great.
Oh my gosh. I think both of us are very. I don't remember what hair color I had either then. White. Okay, that's a whole other thing. Guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. Josiah, I'll be back. Have fun.
All right. Thank you for that amazing introduction. Excited. All right, all right. Hello, everyone. So, what I have prepared is a lot of information, so I really hope you have something to write with because this is about to be drinking from a fire hose because I have an hour to present this. And this is probably like an hour and a half presentation, but I really want to give you guys the most value. So I'm going to jump right into it. So the title of today's speech is How You Can Easily 3x Your Income Without Investing in Any Extra Ad Spend. The reason why I brought this up is because so many people are always thinking that you have to do so many things outside of what you've already done in order to make more money. You already have people telling you need to invest in ads. You have people telling you that you have to spend so much time in your social media. You have people telling you that you have to like speak, which speaking is great. Obviously, I'm doing it in front of tons of people. But the truth of the matter is, you probably already have things that you can just utilize and expand upon and create so much more income that you didn't even know what was there. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And I'm really excited about it. And I hope you're ready. So before we begin, who am I? Who is Josiah? I love Johnny Depp so much, and I had to use this picture for this. But I want to give you guys a little bit of introduction of who I am and why I'm here and why you should even listen to anything I have to say. So this is my bio, and it's in third person, so bear with me. It's kind of weird to read about myself, but here we go. At age 19, I started my first 7-figure business. It was a sales company. We had over a dozen locations in lots of different states all across the countries. And by the time, before I could even drink, I actually had close to 60 or 70 employees underneath me. And a lot of them were like twice my age. And people would come up and be like, is this your mom? And they'd be like, no, this is actually my boss talking about me. And they'd be like, no way. And it was a very interesting experience. I definitely was working while everyone else was partying in frats and for different sororities. So that was fun. Since then, I've helped clients generate hundreds of millions in sales. I've spoken on behalf of celebrities in PR. I've written for a lot of different companies as a ghostwriter because they didn't know how to communicate with their audience. I've developed and branded lots of businesses. This is a little bit older, but so many different multi-million-dollar businesses, from Silicon Valley startups to advertising agencies to there's just an immense amount of different businesses that I've been a part of. And it's been fabulous because it gives me the opportunity to bring my knowledge from one field to another, which you wouldn't necessarily think of. For example, I had a farmer that I worked with. I had talked to him and helped him grow his business from 70,000 a year. He was like, I'm a farmer and I make 70K a year. And he's like, it's the best thing ever because I make more than all my other farmer friends. And he was doing things that I showed him, you know what, you actually can take this thing that you're already doing and monetize on it. And he went from 70K to over 7 million in less than 6 months. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I've worked with Hollywood directors, celebrity. Every time I read all of this, it just sounds like, oh, I'm so cool. I'm just doing this for you guys so you understand the credibility of what I've done. I've worked with people who not only designed the advertising platforms on Times Square, but also created the visuals for it. Fortune 100 corporate executives, angel investors, digital marketing gurus, and thought leaders. I'm partnered in over a dozen successful companies and mentor to a lot of people, including Lisa, who I love and enjoy so dearly. She's such a sweetheart and such an amazing person, such a great individual who really is passionate about what she does. And I love working with people like that who own their power and are just wanting and desiring to make more of it. So executives, business owners, celebrities, people who are just basically wanting to take their business to the next level. And I've spoken with a lot of awesome people like Jack Canfield and Les Brown. There's a lot more that I should add to here. But my mantra is, my dream is to help you make your come true. So at a young age, I realized that I really loved helping pull people's passions out of them and teaching them how to do it. I did it naturally before anyone paid me to do it. Had I known that people would have paid me to do it, I would have been making money from that aspect from a very young age. So all of this is like all the things I've done, and I really want to talk to you about who I really am before we jump into today's lesson. This is me as a child. So I actually passed away when I was 1.5 years old because my lungs collapsed and they brought me back. And because of that, I feel like I have experienced a lot of things on a different level than what most people do. So I realized when I was probably in middle school that I had a very strong sense of a lot of different things. I had a conversation with my friends that I remember. I was talking about how annoying it is when you touch something and you'll be able to like taste it. And I just remember my friend being like, what? And I was like, yeah, you know, when you go up, you'll pick up metal and you'll be able to taste the metal through your hand. And she was like, no, that's not a thing. And the more I asked around, everyone thought that was just the most odd thing they'd ever heard of and was not normal whatsoever. So when I was older, I found out that what I had was synesthesia. And what it does is it basically takes all of your senses or some of your senses. Some people have different effects, but it takes all of your senses and kind of just mashes them up. So sometimes I'll be like smelling or feeling or tasting or hearing or seeing things from perspectives in ways that most people wouldn't understand. But having it and then finding out that I had it gave me an edge up, whereas before I just thought it was a thing that everyone had. So the reason why I'm even telling you this is because I've loved the ability, or I'm sorry, I've loved the opportunity to look at things and take them apart and see what makes them work and put them back together. And I've done it with so many things. I started with computers when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I'd buy computers, buy computer parts, and I'd take them apart and rebuild them better so that I could use them in different ways. And my next favorite thing was, how can it help people? So whatever I was learning how it worked, how could I use that to help people? And then not only that, but how could we make it a business? How could we monetize it? So when I was 9 years old, I got a book called How to Be a Teenage Millionaire. And I was really bummed because I had to wait another 4 years to become a millionaire. But that became one of my main focuses, is how can I start a business? How can I create income while also servicing others? And I really want to understand how that worked from the inside out. So what I actually started doing was I would get a bunch of products and sell them at my siblings' games. So I'd have my own little like concession, which was funny because they wouldn't really do anything because I was a kid. And even though they had concessions, there'd be this like little kid selling things and he'd feel bad. So no one would ever say anything about it. But I definitely made a nice side income from that before I even hit double digits. The next thing is that I loved learning. I've always loved learning. That's amazing that your daughter can see sound. A lot of people can see a lot of visuals when they see sound. When I watch things or I could listen to music, I that's a whole other conversation for another time. But music is one of the most passionate things that I love because of the effects that it has on all the senses. Okay, so when I was homeschooled, I got past my mother's ability to teach me anything about third grade. And so she just got to the point where she'd be like, okay, here, whatever you want to learn, just get the books and learn it. And so I just always dove into books for as long as I could remember and nature. So it's all about like figuring out how things worked around me, living in nature and learning everything I could possibly get my hands on. So when I was in the eighth grade, I actually went to a private school because my parents thought it would be great for me to have a social experience, actually have friends. And I tested into the school, and it was K through 12. And there was a series of tests that I had to take. And the final tests were middle school level, and then they had ninth and 10th grade tests, an 11th grade test, and a 12th grade test. I passed all the tests, went up to the senior test. I took the senior test, and I only got 3 wrong. And they told my parents, your kid could actually only take a few classes and then get the credits that are needed in order to apply for colleges, and could apply for colleges in less than 6 months. So it was a big question, I guess, for my parents to decide whether they were going to send their 14-year-old kid to college after not even going to high school, or going to high school for like only a few months, or if they wanted me to have the high school experience and create a lot of social memories and kind of those social skills as well. So my father chose the second, and I am semi grateful for that. It would have been interesting going straight to college, but that is how I got into the social aspect of things. Um, my grandmother's best friend owned a carnival. So I started working there during the summers, which is a very interesting thing to see, like a 13, 14-year-old kid working at a carnival. But I worked in sales, and I got really, really good at it because I understood how people were thinking, what they wanted to enjoy, how to attract them to the game, and also how to get them to keep spending more and more and more at the game, and then walk away with a great experience. So I ended up selling more than like half of the carnival games combined by myself. And they put me into this other spot in the carnival where there was like those push games where you put the quarters in and it pushes the quarters over. I wasn't allowed to play those games because I understood exactly how all the quarters were getting pushed off. So I'd end up only putting a few, probably like $5 worth of quarters in, and walking away with like hundreds of dollars in quarters. So they didn't let me play the game anymore after that. But I did work the whole entire game. And at the end of the day, I would collect everyone's income that they had made, count the money, organize it, and then put it all in safes. So one funny thing is, well, I guess not funny, it's kind of interesting, scary, I guess. Those rides, they had me put together when I was 14 years old. So next time you're at a carnival, realize that these rides are being held together by our hooks, like these little tiny hooks that are shaped like this, that a 14-year-old may have put together. But anyways, I was closing the carnival, and it gave me this understanding of how to run teams, how to teach sales, and how to grow a business. Um, so I was aging. My parents really wanted me to become a pastor, but I just really wanted to be fabulous. So I ended up having to explain that I was attracted to not only like one specific person, but all people, because I love their energy, because I feel like I experience individuals in a different way. So I ended up being homeless when I was 17 years old. And then from there, I moved to LA and I started modeling, and I loved it. But I realized that I didn't want to just be a model. I also wanted to own the modeling agency. I wanted to own the brands and the products that were being modeled. And I wanted to own the ad agency that pushed those brands. So I realized that I just really love the business side of things a lot more than the performance side of things. So I started the business that I talked to you about in the beginning. That was a sales business, and we had all these locations. We sold skincare, hair care, and makeup, and then a bunch of odds and ends in kiosks and stores across the country in the malls. So at, I believe it was 20, is when I started hitting a 50K average monthly revenue per location. And if you add that up, we were making anywhere from $600,000 to $800,000 a month per the business that we were in. So at 20 years old, that's a lot of money to have to not only earn, but to be responsible for. You have payroll, you have locations that you have to pay rent on, you have overhead, you have inventory. There's a lot of things that go into it. So I had to learn a lot very quickly, but I loved it all. I had the opportunity to help my sisters go through private school and through college, and I also supported my parents through a lot of financial struggles. But I was working 18-hour days, and I was working 6 to 7 days a week, and it got to the point where I was so stressed and tired that I blacked out. And I remember one day specifically, I was driving down the road and I had turned left on a red light, and there was a bunch of traffic coming towards us, and the people that were in the car screamed. And I kind of just like woke up. And it was when you're kind of driving somewhere and you get there and you realize, I don't even know how I got here, because you're in deep thought. It was like that, but a little bit more intense, because I'd completely black out and I would just wake up in the middle of things, but intense things like driving people to a location. And it was in that moment that I realized, I can't really go on living like this. So I decided to step away from the business. My partner didn't want to buy me out, so I ended up just leaving the business and deciding to start over completely. And I started doing yoga. That's all I did for days and days and days. I would do yoga for like 5 or 6 hours a day. But I really got back to the center of me and who I was and what I wanted. And in yoga, I met some people who had their businesses, and they would talk to me about what they needed to do to grow their businesses. And then eventually people started asking me if they could pay me to help them grow their businesses. And I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. And that's how I started consulting. And I've loved doing that ever since then. One of the things is it's forced me to read so many more books and get so much more insight on more subjects, which is what I've loved since I was a kid. So it works out perfectly. One of the things that I love to teach my clients and students is how to intake information effectively. So I'll teach people how to listen to audiobooks at 3 or 4 times speed and still maintain or retain all the information, so that you're able to read a lot more books than you ever could have imagined and get in a lot more information and retain it and then utilize it for whatever you're doing in life. So my thing in life is really to find people who either have a passion that they found or are not completely certain what their passion is, help them find that passion, and then teach them how to monetize it. And that's what I do all day, every day, in and out. I actually just came from a conference that I spoke at where I did a few versions of this presentation over a few days. And it's just amazing. I love doing it so much. I started traveling full time. I work completely from my computer. The only time that I ever work in person is if I want to work in person. I love speaking. I love being in front of people and helping them one-on-one. But honestly, I can do everything I do, not only by myself, what I do with my own businesses, but also with my partner's businesses. I do completely from my phone and my computer, so I can do it wherever I want. Both of these pictures are in Colombia. I spent so much time here. I got stuck there during COVID. So it's just so much that I've gotten to do because I decided to own what I love and make that the forefront of everything and not accept what most people told me I could or couldn't do. I actually had one of my mentors when I was younger, who was a billionaire, tell me that what I wanted to do, I couldn't do. He's like, you want to teach people how to grow their businesses in that state? There's no one that can give them the information that they really need unless it's either an investor or a partner or something like that. So he gave me that thought, and I'm happy that he did, because it made me want to prove him wrong so badly. And now I've done it over and over and over again, from businesses, from people who were just learning to make their hobby a business and hitting 5 figures in a year, to helping people grow their businesses from 6 figures to 7 figures to 8 figures. So it's really allowed me to expand on what I love and help people in the process. It's just like, it's really a cycle of gratitude that I can't even begin to explain. So now that's enough about me. Now we're going to talk about you guys and your businesses, and we're going to go over how you can easily 3x your income. Hopefully that wasn't too much about me. It was just enough that you understand why you should even listen to me. But I'm excited to jump into this and get started. So there's a few things that I really want you guys to take in before we get into the exact steps of this. I put 5 keys down that I really want you to take advantage of. So I'm going to leave these slides up for a second so you can take notes, and I'm going to walk through them. So there's 3 things that everyone really needs to be successful in business, and it's mindset, strategy, and momentum. Okay. So mindset is like the boat that keeps you afloat when you're going somewhere, right? Without a boat, you're going to sink. It doesn't matter how much you have everything else. You're not going to stay above all of the noise, all of the everything going on with clients and team members. When you have hundreds of clients or thousands of clients and you have dozens or hundreds of team members, it really can get to be a lot. And if you are not able to hold your own in your own mindset and take care of yourself, there's no way you're going to be able to lead a whole entire team to do the same. Okay. The next thing is strategy. So, in order to be able to go somewhere or to have a vision or to grow and not to fail or to plateau, you have to have a strategy. You have to know where you're going. You have to understand what comes first, what comes next, what is the end goal in mind, and then the steps in between to get there. And the third thing is momentum. Momentum is the wind in your sails that pushes you in the direction you want to go. It's your dedication to wake up every day and decide, today I'm going to give my best, I'm going to give everything I have, and then go to sleep. And then wake up the next day and say, today I'm going to give my best, I'm going to give everything I have, and do it over and over and over and over again. All right. So these 3 things, make sure you grab them. I'm going to go on to the next slide. Mindset, strategy, momentum. Magical. All right, the next thing is understanding, reacting versus creating. So now that we've talked about mindset, I want to go over this because it's extremely, extremely, extremely important for you to understand the difference in between these two. Because if you don't, you will end up being a reactive leader versus a creative leader. And a reactive leader will always be struggling, whereas a creative leader will always be ahead of the curve. So when you are in reaction state, you will always be a few steps behind. What does this mean? So when you're reacting, something happens in your business, something happens with clients, something happens with a program, something happens, your website goes down, things stop processing. You're really reacting to everything around you. And every single day you have something coming in, and you're going to go in the beginning of your day and you're going to look at everything you have and you're going to say, oh my gosh, how am I going to respond to this? How am I going to make this thing not exist anymore? Maybe you have a big fire that you have to put out, and the main thing you're focusing on is putting out fires versus on growing your business. So as long as you're reacting, you're not going to be able to get ahead the way you want to get ahead, and you won't be able to grow that you need to grow in order to find the success that you want. So that is reaction state. What is creation state? When you are in a creative space, you wake up in the morning, you have the opportunity to have alone time. You don't go directly to your phone, you don't go directly to your emails. You have complete silence, you have you time. You think about what you want to create during the day. You think about what you want to do in your business. You think about the experiences you want to have. You think about everything you want to do throughout your day, and you create it in your mind's eye before it happens. So that way, if anything does come up, you already know, today I wanted to make all of my team members feel this way. So if a team member comes to you with something, you understand, this is exactly how I wanted this team member to feel today. So this is how I will not only respond to the thing they're giving me, but I also will be able to create the next steps for them to take, so that whatever they're dealing with now, they won't deal with in the future, and they'll also be able to hold the mindset that you want them to hold in order for them to be where you want them to be. So when you're creating, you already have plans for things that aren't even happening before they're happening. And then you also see things as they're happening, and you find a way to make it so those people can have access to the answers in the future, so that in the future they don't have to come to you again. So maybe someone has the question of, how do I work through this one problem? So you work through that one problem with that person, and you record it, and then you let all the other people watch the recording in the future who have the same question. But when you come to a space of business and you come to it with a creative mindset, you do far more than you do with the reactive mindset. So that's key number 2, understanding that you need to have a creative versus a reactive mindset. Key number 3, know how to treat everything. So there's 4 points that I put in here about how you can treat everything. So the first one I did was, how do you treat customers? So you're going to treat your customer like you're going on a first date with them. And by the way, if this is like way too much, way too quick, let me know. But also, if you need it, I know that recordings are available, especially if you had VIP. But just make sure you get each and every one of these points. And I know it's a lot, and I know I'm giving it to you like through a fire hose, but I really want to get through all of this because it's a lot of valuable content that will help you guys get to where you want to be. So anyways, back to how to treat a customer. So you want to treat your customer like you're on a first date with them. So you want to put on your best outfit, you want to put on your best impression. How do you best show who you are and showcase what you have to offer in the first interaction with them and the next few interactions with them after that, right? And you have to go into it understanding that it might not work out. You do not have to accept every single client or every single customer that comes into your door. I can't tell you how many times I've had people that just weren't necessarily in the right space during the time that we met, or I found a better fit for them outside of myself, whether that be someone who has more expertise in their field or someone who's a better fit for their personality type. You do not have to date someone if you don't want to date them. You do not have to work with someone if you do not want to work with them. And you don't have to be rude about it. You can just be honest and say, hey, I think this person would be better for you, or I think this product would be a better fit for you. But it's very important for you to hold integrity in who you are so they can hold integrity in who they are so that you can both have the best outcome. And the last thing is think of how you would want to be treated. So when you go on a date, if you're really planning it, you're thinking about what you would do to impress someone that would impress you. So do the same exact thing with your client. The potential client that you have, think about what would amaze them, what would make them feel comfortable with you, what would make them trust you. Really put intention into the experience that they're going to have beforehand. Do it with a creative mindset. Be creative about what you want the outcome to be before you get there. You don't want to be reactive with a first impression. Okay. The next point is treat your team like a sports team. You don't want to have a sports team where all the people are in the wrong spots. If someone is great at shooting and not great at dribbling, you don't want to have that person be the person that dribbles the ball over the court because it's going to get stolen all the time. Maybe they're a lot taller than everyone else and they can stand right by the goalpost so that when they have it, they can just put the ball right into the hoop. The same thing with your business, right? If someone is, and a lot of people, when they're starting their businesses, they'll hire their friends. They'll hire people that they feel they owe something to. They'll hire people because they're cost effective. And they're not really worried about putting the person in the right spot as much as they are in saving money. But the truth of the matter is, if you do not put one of your team members in the right spot, they will not be anywhere near as effective. You will not make more money. It doesn't matter if you save money on them because you'll not be making more money to expand your business. The next thing is praise in public and critique in private. Okay. You never want to just go in on someone in front of everyone else because it brings down the morale of the team. It ruins your credibility. It makes them feel uncomfortable. It also puts them in a place where they don't necessarily feel like they have the confidence to do things and perform the way that they possibly could. Okay. The next one is inspire. You always have to inspire. You are the person leading your team or yourself. If you're your team right now, this goes back to mindset. You have to inspire yourself every single day. You're the visionary of where you're going to go. So unless someone has someone to follow, they're not really going to go anywhere. So you have to be, which brings us to the next step. You have to be the leader, and you always have to lead with hope. You always have to lead in the sense of understanding that people are looking up to you. So if things are getting in your way or struggles are happening and they see that on you, they'll feel it and they'll perform according to what they see. So you always have to have the right set of mind. You always have to see the positive. You always have to be looking forward and working on growth because it impacts you. It's like a whole entire system that you're at the top and it will trickle down. So make sure that you're in the right headspace. All right. Number 3, continued. Treat your business like a seating chart, a wedding seating chart. And this one is a little silly, but you'll understand in a second why. So when you're planning a wedding seating chart and you're doing it months and months ahead of time, you have to say this person gets along with this person, or this person has to sit closer to the stage, or this person has to not sit next to this person. And then as time goes on, maybe social things will come to place where you have to make adjustments. Maybe your Aunt Sue had gotten in a fight with your Uncle Tom on the other side of the family. So now you have to switch where they are. And the point of me saying this is that you always have to be making adjustments in your business according to what you're seeing. So this doesn't mean that, you're thinking about changing your brand and then a week later you don't like your brand, so you're going to change it again. And then a week later you don't like it, so you're going to change it again. This is not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is if you see there's a product that you've created and you put it out there and people aren't biting, either you're not marketing well or it's not a product that people want, and you have to make adjustments according to that. So you have to constantly be looking at your business from the outside looking in, the same time you would look at a seating chart from the outside looking in. Okay. And the last thing is treat yourself like the owner of your dream company. So how would you create and how would you react to things? How do you treat other? How do you treat your business? Think of yourself as you are the owner of your dream company at full blast. So if you're building your company and you want it to be something global, think of what that CEO, that owner, that founder of that company would do at that time, not where you're at now, because where you be when you're running that company, where you want it to be, is going to be completely different than where you are now. So make sure that you're treating your company the way you would and treating yourself the way you would when your company was at its fullest potential. Okay, I have 2 more keys and then we're going to get into the meat of the strategy of this. But these things are super, super important for you to understand, because if you don't have these things before you even get into the meat of anything, it's like having a boat that has all of the greatest gadgets and all of the newest things that you need, but it doesn't float. So I just want to make sure that you guys are able to float and you have the content you need in order to succeed. And then I'll give you the strategy on how to move forward. Okay. So the biggest thing, I will talk to 95% of the clients that I have or the students that I teach at the very beginning, and they won't know their numbers. You can't grow your business if you don't know where your business is. So what is your gross profit for the last month, the last quarter, and the last year? What are the margins for each of your products? What do you sell most? How many of that do you sell per month? What do you sell least? And how many of those things do you sell per month? And what is your customer lifetime value? I'm going to walk through these one more time, but make sure you write these down because these are huge. These are the numbers that you have to know. Like I should be walking through them all, just see you and be able to say, hey, what are your numbers? And you should know them. Okay. It's important to know your gross profit because it's crucial for you to know how much you're bringing in all the time so that you know what you need in order to grow. It's huge for you to know your margins because if you don't know your margins, with the last business I had, well, my first business, if I did not know my margins, I could have sold a ton of product and I could be going negative. If I didn't know how to price products, I didn't know how to source products, I didn't know what to put into bundles. If you don't know all of those things, it would be massive for you, right? So the next thing, what do you sell most and what do you sell least? So you need to know what you sell the most and you need to know what you sell the least, because knowing those things allows you to have the opportunity to decide what you want to do next. Okay. And then what is your customer lifetime value? So you figure this out by seeing how much a client will buy from you over a year, and then how many years a normal client stays with you. And then the last thing is maximize your margins and your customer lifetime value. This means pushing the most profitable products and then also creating new profitable products. You should always be creating new products, always, always, always building new things that you can sell to your customer, and let your customer tell you what they want. A lot of people will build things and then present it to their customer. And honestly, people that love you interact with you and they'll care about the information that they give you, right? So what you want to do is just ask them, what would you love to have more of? What would I be able to provide to you that you would get the most benefit from? Okay. And then upsell, upsell, upsell. So people who love you want more of you. So always make sure that you're upselling them. Don't feel guilty about saying, you know what, you'd benefit more from having this product as well alongside of it. The next thing is affiliate with similar brands and platforms. So if you're a coach, for example, and you use, I don't know, Monday.com. So let's say you're a coach and you use Monday, sign up for the affiliate program for Monday. So every time you send someone to Monday telling them they should use that platform for organization, you're getting a commission for it. It only makes sense. So look at the different tools that you're already giving your clients to use, the different brands and platforms that you're already giving people to use. Look on their website, see if you can become affiliate. If not, talk to them individually. Hit up someone in support or someone who's on the admin team and see if there's a way for you to create an affiliation there. Next, partner with people who have the same audience as you. So there's a ton of people who already have your audience that don't have access to what you have to offer, and vice versa. There's a bunch of people who offer something that they would love to have what you have to offer, and they'd love to reach out to your audience, and you don't have what they have to offer, so you can send them either way. And then the last thing is always offer something that's renewable and or expandable. What I mean by that, Starbucks, they offer coffee. You can drink coffee every day. It's always renewable. It's something you can do every single day. If you're a coach and you have a program and you just do that one program over and over and over again, and there's nothing for them to expand upon, you just you're like that one hit wonder. You have that one song that was great, but you never do anything after that. So always make sure you have the next thing to expand upon for people to learn next. Okay? So that was a lot of information, but all of these things are huge for you to be able to grow your business in the direction you want. Okay? So now I want to get into the strategy portion of the presentation. Burgers, fries, and drink. And if you are one of my students, you know all about this. If you're one of my clients, you know all about this. It's something that a lot of people say, I never looked at my business this way, and I never would have thought to use this example. So I'm going to teach you guys this today so you can use it for your business. You can always go back to your business and reevaluate where you are with these things. Okay. So burger, fries, and drink. So I would love for you guys to decide which one you think makes the most net profit. Out of burgers, fries, and drink, I want you to write down which one you think will make the most net profit for a business. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to decide. Insert music. Okay. So hopefully you've picked one. We have burgers, we have fries, we have drink. Hi, Linda. So the next thing is the answer. The most net profit is your drink. Now, why is that? Okay. A lot of people will think, a burger is really the most expensive thing on the entire menu. How is that not the most profitable? A lot of you know that the cost margin of a drink is a lot less than the cost margin of a burger, meaning a drink you may pay 5 to 10 cents for and sell for $1. Now, a lot of us are spending a lot more than $1 on drinks when we go out to eat, but the margins are usually anywhere from 5 to 10%, sometimes even less. A lot of times it can cost someone 10 cents to fill up a cup and they'll give it to you for $3 or $4, and it's massive, right? So looking at this, you're just looking at how much it costs. So a burger usually costs a lot more. And if we're going to look at just the cost, this is true, but there's a lot more that goes into it than you realize when it comes down to which one of these products is more profitable. So not only does a burger cost more, it has several ingredients. And because it has several ingredients, there's several process steps. So the burger has to be cooked, the bun has to be toasted, the lettuce has to be cut, the tomato has to be cut. If there's onion on it, that also has to be cut. All of that has to be put together. There's whatever sauces have to be put on it. And then it has to be put together and then put in a wrapper and wrapped up or put on a plate, however you're going to do it, and then given to someone. And it usually takes several employees to go through this process. It's not all just one person. You normally have the cook, you have the person preparing it, and the person delivering it. It all depends. When you look at the drink, it's usually you got a drink or you got a drink and ice. That's usually all it is. And it's minimal process steps. You normally just fill it up and give it to the person. That's it. If you're on fast food, they'll put a lid on it and give you a straw. That's literally all it is. It takes a few seconds to fill it up and only takes one employee to do it. So when you're going to look at it, not only does it cost more for a burger, it takes more people, it takes more preparation time. There's more strategy that needs to go into it because more steps have to be completed. Whereas with the drink, you literally just fill it up and give it to the person. Okay. So in one of my programs, I go a lot deeper into this, and this is a QR code for you to take a picture of. This has a PDF that allows you to walk through what your burger is, what your fry is, and what your drink is. So I'm going to leave this up for a second for you to scan and download this PDF. You can use this as many times as you want. Use it for all of your products. Whenever you think about creating a new product, use this process because it will help you. Okay. I need theme music for like when people are scanning things. All right. So I'm going to give this another second and then we're going to go on to the next thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through your products and we're going to figure out what is your burger, what is your fry, and what is your drink. Okay? Because the truth of the matter is if you had a bunch of people that you didn't have to worry about the sales aspect of things and all you were going to be doing was just deliverables, which one would be more profitable? Because the truth of the matter is once you are able to scale your sales, it comes down to delivery. A lot of people are in the how do I sell more process, and that's another lesson in itself. But the truth of the matter is when you learn how to sell, the heavier thing is figuring out how to deliver deliverables and also what deliverables to offer, because that's really where the secret of scaling comes. Because once you know how to sell, you sell. And the next thing is really understanding how to deliver. Because if you don't know how to deliver, you won't be able to scale properly. Okay, so to define your products, you need to understand cost and overhead, the required workload, meaning the amount of hours and people that you need, the ease of delivery. Are these people, is it something that someone has to be like really skilled to do, or could it just be someone that you take up off the street and teach how to do very easily? The amount of humans needed, and then the ability to multitask. If someone is focusing on just grilling burgers, they'll probably have to like, if they're just mass producing burgers, they're going to have to focus on making sure that none of the burgers get burnt. Whereas if someone's able to fill a cup, now a lot of times restaurants will have the autofill where it stops when it's already filled. So you literally just put a cup there and it will autofill and you'll be able to give it back. It doesn't take a lot of multitasking. These are the things that you look at every time you have to define your product. So I'm going to give a few examples for each of these. Now, the biggest one that most of us have is our burger. It's the thing that really attracts people to us. It's our flagship program. It's our flagship product. It's the thing that makes us stand out in the industry, stand out in our niche. This is usually the thing that requires the most amount of time. So a burger would be one-on-one coaching, right? Because for one-on-one coaching, you have to do it. You can't outsource it. You can't delegate it to someone. It has to be you. Your time has to be completely focused on your client, because if you're not completely present for them, you're not going to be able to deliver the way you want to deliver. So think of what the burger is in your company. I do have background music over here, but I don't know if you guys can hear it. So when you have your burger, it's the biggest product usually that you have to offer, the most heavy product that it comes to delivery, but is the product that you usually take pride in. So the secret is to upsell. So once you find out what your burger is, that will attract people, but we also have to find out how do we sell more drinks to your customers. Maybe that's something that you just record once and then it's a downloadable digital product. Maybe it's something that you can put on auto as delivery. What are the things that you can put into a place where it's very, very easily and minimally delivered to someone and most profitable. So think about what your burger is, so that way we can understand later what drinks are and we can add drinks to it. So I want you to write down what your burger is, what is the actual net profit of your burger, and then what is the deliverable that you need? Like, how many people do you need to deliver it, and how much time does it take to deliver it? Remember, go back to cost and overhead, required workload, ease of delivery, humans needed, and ability to multitask. And we're going to do this for each of the products, okay? And then once you got that done, the next thing is your fries. So we haven't really talked about fries yet, and I'm going to explain the difference in between fries versus the burger and the drink. So fries take a couple more steps, but not so much that it's a burger or it's a burger. And it also is usually a little bit more cost, but not so much, once again, that it's a burger. So fries have a higher cost point because they're a potato versus carbonated water and syrup. And you also have to take fries depending on where you're getting your fries. They're either frozen, you have to take them out of a package and put them into a deep fryer and then put them into packaging and then give them away. Or you also have to cut the potatoes and fry them. So it is 2 steps still, but it's a lot less steps than a burger, right? It's not so much a drink because it's not completely automated. It's not something that you can easily just boom deliver, but it isn't as robust as the burger. So write down what your fries are, and then go back to cost of overhead, required workload, and ease of delivery. Humans needed, and ability to multitask for your fries. Boom, boom. So an example of a fry would maybe be like a group program. You're able to deliver it in a mass way, but you still have to show up, but you're reaching a lot more people, so it's more time efficient. But you also have a lot more opportunity for growth in income because one-on-one, you have to be with that one client during that time. Whereas a group, maybe you have a larger number of people, maybe you have close to it's a little bit more limiting than a soda because if you have a drink or a soda, if that's on evergreen, there's not a limit to the amount of people that you can offer things to. Whereas a fry, you probably don't want to make a group too big so that everyone can still have the same experience that they desire. That makes sense. And then finally, what are your drinks? What is your drink product? So what are the things that you currently have to offer that are super easy to deliver? Maybe you've already had a bunch of people buy them and they've gone through it and they have testimonials. Maybe it's something that is just downloadable, like we said. Maybe it's something that people can self-study in. What is your drink? All right, so being able to define your burger, your fries, and your drink is crucial because when you go forward, you want to think about products when you're creating them and think, is this going to be a burger? Is it going to be a fry? Or is it going to be a drink? You want to create as many drinks as possible. And the only way that you really want to add more burgers is if they give an immense amount of value that people can later go on and buy more drinks and more fries from. So I know I covered so much in this, but I wanted to leave a little bit of time in the end for Q&A if anyone has some. And if you want to reach me, I put contact information here. But I wanted to leave this time open for a Q&A if anyone had any questions about everything that we just covered. That was a lot to cover. But if there's any questions, go ahead and put them up in the chat and we'll get to it. And if not, I just feel like I answered all the questions before I even had a question.
Oh my gosh, this was absolutely amazing. I'm going to put in the chat Josiah's contact information. Those of you that are always on my YouTube, you know I will sit here. I'm a self-producer. I have to tell you guys that this information, this concept of burgers, fries, and drink, when Josiah brought it to me last year, I think it's been almost a year and a half now. It literally changed my entire how I did business. It changed how I looked at my business. It changed everything. All right, all that is in the chat, gang, so you guys can see that. We're gonna put it up on the screen as well. It changed everything for me because as a coach, as a new mentor and coach in this realm, we hear so often, which is true, that have one product, do one thing, do it well, master one thing at a time, and there's some truth to that. But also, I really felt like that left me without a very strong foundation, and it left me with kind of nowhere to grow. And I hadn't even considered all of these other options and making my life a lot easier. Um, I think I have a question for you, Josiah. When someone is looking at their baby right here, their business, and there's going to be a lot of people who we are in the highly transformative program space. What do you think is one of the easiest things to then maybe extract from that, or kind of on the periphery as we're creating that drink and that fry? Where should we start?
I would always start with value for the client, right? So what you have to offer and what you understand, what is the best value that you can put forward for your client? So for me, those of you who know me understand that I'm an amazing strategist, incredible with ideas, but when it comes to delivery, I do so much that I can't just sit around and like build websites or like create things for people. I don't really have time for that because I want to help as many people as I possibly can. And honestly, my ability to look at something and take it apart and putting it back together for someone to be successful is a lot more valuable than something that they could just go off and hire like a VA for, right? So when you're putting something together to offer, make sure that you're creating the most amount of value for your client. And then think about the best way for that client to be able to take in that information or that service, right? What is the most efficient way for them to be able to consume whatever it is that you have to deliver? So that way, not only is it easier for you to produce it, but it's easier for them to intake it. And those are the best kind of drinks you really can offer.
Awesome. That is amazing. Now, you guys, this is the week of kindness, right? And Josiah's been traveling. I've been crazy busy. Like, we're always talking about crazy. It's nuts. So we're going to update like the free gift for you guys. We're going to update the VIP offer as well, just so you guys have that. But I want you, in the meantime, in between time, I want you to email Josiah or text Josiah and get on his calendar, talk to him, and let him help you strategize how to take yourself from wherever you are right now up to that next level, whatever that might be. Okay. It doesn't necessarily have to be, I'm not going to put it like that. If you really want to work hard at this and this is like serious for you and you're ready to take it and blow up in 2023, do your big one, I need you to reach out to Josiah and have a chat so you can really assess where you're at right now and determine what makes sense for the next steps. But in order to get access to what we're going to put together for that VIP, you're going to need to go on, upgrade that ticket to $97. And you're going to want to do that because you're going to want to go back to for a whole year. You can go back to it. but you're going to want to rewind, replay this and all the other talks, and you're going to be actually donating to the Better Vision for Children Foundation. Josiah, I love you, my friend. Do you have anything you'd like to leave with us today?
Yeah. I'm so often told I love this thing, or if I could do this thing for my rest of my life and not do anything else, I would do it. And what most people don't realize is you can do that. And not only can you do that, you can monetize from it. And you'll probably end up earning more than you ever imagined, definitely more than what you're doing now. So don't lose faith and don't lose hope in not being able to follow your dreams, and understand that you can make money from doing almost literally anything. So with that, I bid you adieu, and I hope you all have a beautiful conference summit.
Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Wow. I hope you enjoyed that just as much as I did. Thank you so much for all of that great information. Hey, we're not done yet, so just relax. We're going to continue on with our next speaker in just a few moments.